Welcome in everybody here for another round in the Stock Car Championship Series, brought to you by Dizzy V Designs. Got a lot to talk about, a lot to go over before we get started in today's race. Right now going through our warm-up session, about 10 minutes left there. See if we can pick up our current points leader. Man of the hour. Go down the back stretch. Looks like he's just coming out of pit lane, actually. Last week's winner as well. Coming at the Charlotte Road Course right here. Now extending his lead by over 60 points. It's a whole race worth ahead of his competition. Tony Stewart second now. Jimmie Johnson falling back to third with a DNF. So that is his second DNF on the season. And second in only 6 races. So Jimmie Johnson looking to get back on track here at a place he's very familiar with. Cars coming down the back stretch. Kyle Busch in quite a bit of traffic, so this is good practice for him. We'll have just another, looks like 9 minutes left of practice though, and then we'll get into 4 laps of qualifying, followed by 200 laps here at Charlotte Motor Speedway. Currently quickest on track is Kyle Larson. Take a look at the different cameras we have here. If we want to stick with this, or maybe go to our regular camera. I kind of like this more zoomed out shot as well, having this option. So we'll stick with this default camera. It's always good to mess around though, so I can get all 6 of them loaded. Let's go find Kyle Larson though, who's quickest overall. See how he's running. Alright, with Dale Jarrett and Mark Martin coming out of turn 4. You know Larson's going to be quick. He's got the most wins on the season with 3. And in about every 5 races, he's gotten one. So I'd say he's due. Last one came 5 races ago. It was at Gateway. Larson looking very quick at a 30.911 over Bobby Allison, 30.936. Richard Petty right in tow with him at a 939. Very close at the top of the charts. Let's see if we can go back and check with Kyle Busch. He's there with Jimmie Johnson, who we mentioned having a bit of struggles as of late. Turn that around here, currently 5th in the practice time sheets. There's Bobby Allison, now actually 3rd behind these 2. Jeff Gordon's going into 2nd. Looks like we're going to have some pretty good racing here tonight. Matter of can they keep it clean. not bounce each other off the walls. And oh, Bobby Allison, just like that, comes back P2, only 6 thousandths now back of Larson. So Bobby Allison looking very quick. He's got a bit of drafting help right now, but Larson's actually just up ahead of this group even. Kyle Busch trying to thread the needle off of 4, get underneath Chase. We got the top 3 within 1/100th of a second. Very exciting to see. Right now, Kyle Busch running 18th. Been in traffic throughout this run, so hasn't really got a good gauge of his top speed, but he's got a good car in traffic. Under 5 minutes now in practice. You know, once Kyle was able to clear Chase, he's just able to pull away. The difference in speed pretty significant right now throughout the field. We'll take a look at the charts in a moment and see the difference from first to last, but even just through middle of the pack, pretty significant. Had a great run last week with Bill Elliott and Greg Biffle here again. A lot of mid-pack towards the back here. Able to take advantage some weeks and wind up with pretty good finishes. Definitely improving week after week with those groups. There's Jeff Gordon currently running 3rd quickest. Now Petty and Logano rounding out the top 5. Richard Petty just up ahead here. Oh, we lost Gordon. There he is. Quarter of a second separating the top 17. And I think we're going to be quite a variety on these qualifying laps. Half a second back to 28. Larson remains on pit lane after putting down 16 laps. We got 3/4 of a second separating the field right now. Almost a full second, but Michael Waltrip and Kyle Petty, I don't believe have really got in a full hot lap yet. Oh, Cale Yarborough popping up into the top 5 there. Be 4th quick. Good to see that for Cale. Those fresh tires just flying by that number 18. Earnhardt up ahead. He's 9th quick, so should be good for qualifying. At 4 p.m. here for practice, so 4:13 local coming up. It'll be qualifying right at 5 p.m. and the race starting 6 p.m. Hoping to get a bit of racing under the lights, but being in the summertime, I think we need to start these races a bit later. So Kyle Larson still remains quickest overall. I don't know if anyone will outdo that lap time. He's heading back out on track, I think, just to maybe check some gauges, as there's only 30 seconds to go, and we will wrap up the session to avoid the overlap that occurs. We'll stick with Kyle Larson, at least for the first qualifying lap, and then anybody that goes quicker will jump to that car in the qualifying run. Let's take a look at the weather, though, as we're getting underway for these qualifying laps. 82 degrees, 104 on the track, 7-degree wind, 7-mile-per-hour wind. Larson quickest in practice, a 30.9. We'll see if it can be backed up now that there is clean air on the nose of that number 5. A draft could have came into play, but let's see what happens. No, Hendrick will be quick. I think Larson knows he needs to respond to what Kyle Busch has been doing, because Larson even fell out of the top 5 last week. I mentioned Jimmie Johnson had a DNF, so did Larson. Down the backstretch for the first lap. Into 3. Taking a bit of a higher line, maybe conserving the tires for laps 2 and 3. Across the start-finish line. Where does he slot in here? Top 5, yeah. Gordon, though, looking like he's quickest overall. There's Bubba Wallace. Up to Jeff Gordon, 30.747. Much quicker than what we saw in practice. And this will drop significantly, I think, on this lap. Kyle Busch, though, running second. Jimmie Johnson and Magana, your top 4. Here comes Gordon. Do we see a 30.5? 30.549 for Gordon. But that's not going to be enough for the front row. That's going to go to Tony Stewart on pole provisionally. 30.522. Larson up to second. Busch in third. Into 3. Taking that high line, keeping the momentum. I don't know if this will be quicker. Maybe some laps could, but... Oh, a 420. Here we go. Jimmie Johnson, 30.420, but only to be bettered by Bobby Allison. We got one more lap to go, and it's by 1,000. Bobby Allison over Jimmie Johnson. You got Jeff Gordon and Tony Stewart. One more lap. Off of 4, crossing the start-finish line. Even quicker. A .382, one of the few, actually, to even improve. Put it down by another 0.3 on him. 3.5. Incredible job by Bobby Allison. Let's take a look here. Pole sitter at Watkins Glen. Coming up with his second on the season, looking for his first win. We keep, I don't know if we're jinxing him, but he's the only driver in the top 10 in points without a win on the year. The next car without a win is in 12th, so shows his consistency, that's for certain. Only 1 DNF on the year. See what Bobby Allison can do in the race if he can come away with his first win. Let's take a look at the starting grid on digital paper. See Larson, he's starting in the top 10, but a little further back than he maybe hoped. Hamlin with a good starting position. Elliott, Rusty Wallace would like to be a little further to the front. You could say the same for Dale Jarrett. Bit mired back here with Martin Truex, but towards the back, pretty standard it looks like. Go ahead and advance the session here to the race, and we'll get a shot of the field from the drone cam and see where your favorite drivers are lining up. A bit of shade now, actually hitting the front straightaway here at 6 p.m. start time. There's your front row, Bobby Allison and Jimmie Johnson. Second row, Jeff Gordon, Tony Stewart. Followed by Kyle Busch and Cale Yarbrough. Fourth row, Kyle Larson and Richard Petty. And rounding out the top 10, you got Joey Logano and Dale Earnhardt Sr. Go through the rest of the field here. There's David Pearson. Going to capitalize on a big run last week. Thought he had his first win, but just didn't have the pace there towards the end. Kowicki and Keselowski, teammates there. Oh, Labonte brothers. Earnhardt Jr. a bit towards the back, see if he can make his way to the front. Got Davey Allison and Martin Truex, as we mentioned. He's probably a bit upset with his qualifying run. Full house here at Charlotte Motor Speedway for the Stock Car Championship Series. Coming up on the halfway point of the season. This is round 17. Next race will be double points at Le Mans in a 4-hour endurance race. There's the last row with Clint Bowyer and Bubba Wallace. But before we get to Le Mans, we will have 200 laps here at Charlotte Motor Speedway. 300 miles. And get this underway. Bobby Allison and Jimmie Johnson will head the field. Get one pace lap before we go green. Gold rims on the 12 Miller High Life machine. Looking for that first elusive win. Surrounded by drivers who have all won, going back to David Pearson back there in 12th place. Odds are stacked against him, that is for sure. Great shot of the field, stacking up down the backstretch. Coming into turn 3, get the green flag this time by. See also with the restarts how the outside line comes into play, because I think there could be an advantage here for Jimmie Johnson. Provided Bobby doesn't get, an incredible jump. Here we go, pace car pulling off, about to get underway, green flag in the air. Stock Car Championship Series at Charlotte Motor Speedway. Huge jump for Bobby Allison. I was questioning it, there is no doubt. Even Jeff Gordon going for second. Side by side, through 1 and 2 for second. That's teammates, but you see momentum on the high line paying off for Johnson and pulling away, leaving Gordon now fighting for third and potentially falling back out of the top 5. Needs to get up the track. You can tell that is the place to be. So good start here for the front of the field. No incidents. Everybody making it through 1 and 2. Jimmie Johnson closing the gap quickly and looking to take the lead in turn 3. Cars rounding in. That's now 2 laps in the books. Into turn 1. See Jimmie Johnson still closing that gap right on the rear bumper of Bobby Allison. Not letting him get away. Kyle Busch also getting there with the quickest lap overall so far. But that just changed and actually goes even quicker, 30.148. Looking for the lead. Oh, it's a great racing through this field early on. Is going to keep our eyes to the front because Jimmie Johnson's at the point now. Kyle Busch going for second. Something must have happened to Bobby Allison. Tires falling off early. There is your top 5, really top 10, all in contention early on. Kyle Busch now, he's going to the inside. Intense battle here in the top 10, even potentially 15 on back, or 15 all right here, and there's a gap on back. Yeah, top 14 altogether. I see Kyle Busch losing a bit of speed on that inside line. Tony Stewart up to 4th. Even Jeff Gordon is very quick in practice now, looking to get around for the lead. Two by 2 in the top 4. Looking at the high line, Stewart getting around and following Jimmie Johnson to the front. Bobby Allison trying to get up the track, but Richard Petty is going to cut that off and look for 3rd. What a race we have here early on. Anticipating about 40 laps being the fuel window. Can't say for certain, as we did not get a practice race on this one. At least measuring those statistics, but not a full practice race. We knew it would be good just from what we saw. But the top 10, 15 just still staying all together here. Jimmie Johnson, Tony Stewart, Bobby Allison, your top 3. That's been pretty constant. I would say Jeff Gordon's the only car that's really been able to crack into that group. So he's now going for another move on Richard Petty. See if we can go on board Jeff Gordon for a moment. It's right here in 3rd, looking inside now, going to the rear bumper of Stewart as we head into turn 1. Going to lose a bit of momentum on this little line. Richard Petty looking to the outside and potentially get there on Stewart. Just like that, you go from the rear bumper of the lead to 7th in less than half a lap. And the run that Stewart got there off of 4, going to bring Gordon with him and maybe drop Logano back a bit, but Logano pulls alongside and side drafts into 1, sending Gordon almost out of the top 10 here instantly. I don't know if this is like an announcer's curse by being on board here, but been interesting to watch these 2 or 3 laps. Great shot of the front of the field now as well. Great perspective that Gordon has, almost going 3 wide in front of him, though. I don't know if I want that perspective. Ooh, Stewart has to lift. Gonna put Gordon to the high side and around these guys pretty easily. Larson looked pretty loose. Larson in 5th, then you go up to Petty 4th, Kyle Busch 3rd, and a battle for the lead. Joey Logano now putting the pressure on Jimmie Johnson, see if he can outdo, I would say, the master of this track. Anyone better than Jimmie Johnson. Take a look at the whole field now as they make their way around 1 and 2. Really spreading out here early on. Good to see that. And no incidents. That's the best part. Jimmie Johnson enjoying a bit of a gap here, a bit of breathing room. Still the top 14 all in a line. You got to go about a second and a half back to get 15th place. Car's starting to single file out a bit. Tires starting to get some age on them and slide around more, just a little more treacherous at this point. Jeff Gordon now currently the quickest lap at a 30.064. I imagine we will get under the 30-second barrier as we get later into the evening. It's a sold out crowd. Incredible shot there. Take a look back in our other cameras. Look at the race off of 2. The top 5 now really pulling away. That's going to be Jimmie Johnson, Kyle Busch, Logano, Stewart, and Gordon. Side by side up front. Kyle Busch looking for the lead here on lap 17. Johnson's held it for the first part of this race. First real pressure he's got. Not sure I'm much more of a fan of this camera package. We'll stick with it. Outside, the Hendrick car is 1-2, then Tony Stewart following the line in 3rd. And you do see now the top 5 separating themselves from 6 through 14. I think Kevin Harvick's actually even fallen off and making only a top 13 that have pulled away. Jeff Gordon taking over here. Great shot from the drone cam. We're probably going to go back to the default here in a moment, but see if we had anything. Really interesting perspective there down the front straightaway. So you see the gaps that have formed here. Gordon now pulling Tony Stewart, and then even about half a second back now to Jimmie Johnson in third. So quickest car overall has found his way to the front. And it's the top 10 and really starts to spread out from there on back. Lap traffic still 9 seconds up the road, so no concern at this point, but maybe around the time we get to pit stops, we could be seeing them. Really took a while to get things settled down and determine who is quickest here, but Cream rising to the top here halfway through this first run. Tony Stewart keeping Jeff Gordon honest. Jimmie Johnson appears to be just waiting in the weeds for his first set of pit stops, see if he can improve the long run ability of his car. Laps now in this race as Charlotte Motor Speedway out of 200, going by pretty quick. No cautions yet, very clean. I don't even know if I've seen anyone hit a wall or another car yet. Quite uncommon for one of these 1.5-mile ovals. First and second now, putting some real distance on the rest of the field. Go back a ways to Jimmie Johnson, and you got a battle for fourth with Logano and Kyle Busch. Kyle Busch, your points leader, last week's winner. Looking to add even more to that today. Tony Stewart is currently second in points, so not able to capitalize much when your competition's 3 spots back. And behind the battle here for fourth is the battle for sixth amongst teammates Cale Yarborough and Bobby Allison, the best enemies, as they're called. Bobby Allison looked very quick early on pole. Fell back and is now just trying to find that speed again. Battle really heating up now. This looks like Joe Logano is really losing pace. These 5 cars really starting to get compressed here through 3 and 4, and it's like Kyle Busch making the move to get by Logano. No, he can't get there, but Cale Yarborough's now able to keep his momentum. He's going the inside into 3. Looks like he'll have the line and the speed. Can Logano get him on exit? Incredible racing here. Fourth through about 9th right now. Dale Earnhardt has also got to the back bumper now with Bobby Allison. But it doesn't seem like you can get by on the inside too easy. So as long as Logano holds that high line, it makes it nearly impossible for these guys to get by and then close on the top two. Actually, are closing in on traffic. Oh, almost a crash. Sends Earnhardt up. Oh, he hits Kyle Busch. Larson has to check up. Big moment there. Ooh, I cannot believe they avoided that one. So Logano gets a bit of a break as everyone catches their breath. 5th on back. Massive moment. Saw, I think it was teammates even. Bobby Allison and Cale Yarbrough making contact into one. Let's get back to the front as 1st and 2nd are closing in on lap traffic. Clint Bowyer will be the first car up ahead. And how quickly can Jimmie Johnson reel in the top two, if at all? Pit stops coming up here in the next 10 laps as well, something to think about. So taking a bit of a different line here, Gordon having a lift. Getting Stewart now to his rear bumper. Stewart's going to go out on the outside of Gordon. He's going to clear into 2. Past Bowyer. What a move by the 20. 24 now. He's going to follow into 3. Lap 35. Tony Stewart to the front. Cars stacking up again back there behind Joey Logano. Let's keep an eye on this. Saw it happen last time. Almost 3 wide in turns 1 and 2. Everyone trying to find a different lane. But very loose. See 18 car really moving around through turns 3 and 4. That little lift there that Kyle has to do gives momentum, but there's Earnhardt up the inside. Is he going to get there this time? Can he clear Logano? Bobby Allison's in the fence. Almost a bit, maybe. Could have scraped the wall. But look at Earnhardt really making the move now. He's got position, it seems. Had to lift. He couldn't do it. Couldn't complete it. Back up front. There's Gordon and Tony Stewart in heavy traffic here. Stewart doing a great job getting through, as is Gordon. Jimmie Johnson, he's back here as well. I think once Logano gets to the lap traffic, that's when these guys behind him will be able to make a move. Earnhardt still closing up on the rear bumper, getting as close as he can down the straightaway. Hoping he can catch Joey up a little bit, but keep the high line. Like he's trying to do there is like a middle groove. Coming up on Clint Bowyer pretty quick, so let's see what happens. Logano doesn't have much pace. I'm curious as to if he can really even get by a lap car at this moment. We have a caution on the track. Saw Ricky Rudd here. Oh, Jeff Burton and Ricky Rudd. That's Jeff Gordon. Gordon's in this one. Hard hit for Jeff Burton and Ricky Rudd. Gordon gets cleaned out. Riding with these two lap down cars. Hard impact, clips the right rear, sends him right into the fence at a second. What terrible luck for the 24. Behind the fence at the moment. Now we're up front again with Tony Stewart. Michael Waltrip behind him. Appears he'll get the wave around as the lucky dog. 32nd place. Stewart will be pitting. That was right in time with pit stops, so still not entirely certain what a full fuel run is like here. But we're at the 1/5 point of the race early on. Tony Stewart has a significant gap on the field down pit lane. Should be able to make it off here pretty easily in the lead. Take a look at the race off pit road when they get here. Jimmie Johnson, a bit of a checkup with Tony Stewart. Good stop for Hamlin and Pearson. Bobby Allison gonna fall back, as will Kyle Busch and Larson. Really bad stop for those two. So Tony Stewart leads the field. Jimmie Johnson, Joey Logano, Dale Earnhardt. Cale Yarborough, your top 5. Interesting to see if Jeff Gordon can get back on track, or I don't imagine Rudd and Jeff Burton will. That looked like pretty significant damage, but if Jeff Gordon can get back out and salvage any of this day. But wrecked out of second here near lap 40 of this 200 lap race by 2 lap cars. Fuel makes their way by here under caution behind the pace truck. Reiterate next week's huge event at Le Mans. It will be 4 hours next Wednesday. An endurance race here in the Stock Car Championship Series worth double points. Be the halfway point of the season. Every 9 races that we've had is a twin checker challenge race. Worth double points. So huge event. And that will be taking place next Wednesday. Imagine we'll get the 1 to go. Looks like Jeff Gordon's on pit lane getting repairs done. cars line up. See if Tony Stewart can get the same jump that Bobby Allison got on the initial start, because that was very impressive, I would say. Pit stops really shuffled up a bit of the top 15. You see we got Hamlin and Pearson up here now. I also saw Rusty Wallace towards the top of the field. Kowicki made some moves. Guys like Kyle Busch, Kyle Larson, Kevin Harvick, they fell back quite a bit. And Jeff Gordon back on track now. I do see him back there. Maybe 1 or 2 laps down? 3 laps down, okay. Kind of pace that car has. Pretty hard hit to the outside wall, but it's able to get back going, and pace car about to pull in as the cars shuffle down into first gear, second gear for this restart. And green flag is out. Tony Stewart, nice jump again. He'll be out in front into turn 1. Like Jimmie Johnson will be the outside of Logano in 2 and be able to clear him down the back straightaway, which might send Logano a bit through the field. Not where you want to be inside row 2 on these restarts. Be inside really at all, unless you're on the front row. See Gordon definitely off pace here. He's off pace enough, he may be black flagged. To keep an eye on that. Top 3 looking pretty good. Tony Stewart, Jimmie Johnson, Dale Earnhardt, they're pulling away, but you might see what we saw in the first stint, a lot of side-by-side amongst the top 10. Take a look here. Jimmie Johnson, a 30.456. A second and a half off pace. Let's see what this next lap is. 31.5 for tail end of the field. 30.9. It's close as to whether I should keep him. Keeping him out there for now. Jeff Gordon is able to maintain enough speed, just barely. Tony Stewart is your leader over Richard Petty into turn 1 on lap 50. 1/4 through this race. Tony Stewart, second in points, could definitely make up some ground today. Especially as Kyle Busch really didn't get the best pit stop and is mired back in about 10th at the moment. Jimmie Johnson getting by Richard Petty in turn 1. Quite a bit of speed out of the 48. I don't think Richard really expected that. And could send Richard Petty back to maybe 5th or so when it's all said and done. He's having to deal now with Hamlin even as he's cracking the top 5. Denny Hamlin with a win on the season. Having some bad luck as of late. Falling out of the top 15 in points even. So a run today in the front of the field is desperately needed. I think Hamlin just went up into the... almost went up into the fence. Real big checkup. Ricky Rudd's back out on track, so we got one car left on pit lane getting repairs. That's Jeff Burton. Top three pulling away: Stewart, Jimmie Johnson, Cale Yarbrough. Let's go on board Cale Yarbrough for a moment. Follow along first and second. They're going to get to the outside of Jimmie Johnson. Going to put Cale potentially up to second as we get off of turn 2. A bit of a lift, but got the draft. Should keep him up in tow with the 20. So on the outside here, Jimmy's going to force the issue. Still on the inside. Pulling up on Ricky Rudd pretty quickly. Let's take a look at Rudd's times here. 30.6, 30.6. This is too far off pace. Tony Stewart pulling away a bit. 2/10 on Cale Yarbrough. The top 5 now all in a group. Closed up a bit when Ricky Rudd was up ahead. Good battle for second, shaping up. Earnhardt and Jimmie Johnson looking for a way by the 28 car. They got to figure it out between themselves first, as they got also Richard Petty looking for a way by any slip up from these two. Jimmie Johnson's going to be in trouble here into 1, losing a spot. Petty now going really high here. I don't know if I've seen anyone up to the top that far yet, but almost made it work. 5:59. Closing up on even the 1/3 point of this race now, just going by very quickly. For Tony Stewart. It's like Ricky Rudd making his way back on track again. Is Ricky Rudd. Let's see how he's doing with these other cars. Gotta be doing better than 32-second lap time. That's so Rudd, after repairs, let's see what is going on if we can keep him on track. Yeah, significantly better. Albeit very loose, maybe some issues with suspension, but back to the lead. There's our leader, Tony Stewart, followed by Cale Yarbrough. Battle for third continues. Jimmie Johnson and Dale Earnhardt. And you got Larson and Richard Petty, all 2 by 2. Earnhardt gonna get the gap now into 1. She'll also bring Richard Petty by. Kyle Busch, he's a little further back, but he's now up into 7th. You can see that front 6, and Denny Hamlin falling back to 8th. So just maybe doesn't have the pace. If he's able to work pit strategy, that 11 car could be talked about by the end. Got Bobby Allison rounding out the top 10. You know, he's eager for that first win. Started on pole, but just hasn't been able to keep the car up at the front. Earnhardt in 3rd, checking on the first 2. Kiliaro looking low, out of 4. Closing in now. See, Earnhardt's going to get to the outside and make a battle for 2nd. He should be able to make that pass. Kale a little vulnerable here on the inside of 3. Gonna try to get up before Richard Petty gets alongside. Kyle Busch really closing on these leaders. Take a look at this. Jimmie Johnson, 30.8. I thought the difference would be like a half a second or something. Let's see this time by. 30 point. Oh, Petty got the wall. 31. So 4/10 that time. I mean, it's visually noticeable. Even the cars behind Kyle Busch are closing up, so we could have nearly a 10-car battle at the front here in just a moment. Larson looking to the low side on Cale Yarborough and actually clears him in the corner. Cale lost a lot of momentum. Look at Larson go here. Inside now, Stewart just couldn't make it sick. Larson wisely back to the outside, going to keep Cale behind him as we hit lap 69 here out of 200. Tony Stewart in the lead. Kyle Larson pulling up 2nd with Jimmie Johnson in 3rd. About halfway through this pit cycle, Kyle Busch has caught up to this group. 8th, 9th, and 10th were closing, but that has since plateaued a bit. I think Kyle Busch has got the wall. Top 3, Tony Stewart, Larson, and Johnson on lap 70. Race is absolutely flying by with the lack of cautions here, and Larson's going for the lead into turn 1. Kept the car low enough that he avoided much of a checkup in the quad oval. Trying some things out though, couldn't quite make it work. Now Jimmie Johnson back to 2nd. Let's see if Jimmie can bring the fight to the 20. Who has led since our last restart when everyone pit. Hey, Jeff Burton back on track. We'll keep an eye on him, make sure he's up to speed. Yeah, he's got to come back in for more repairs. Way off pace. Top four separating themselves. Got a good... oh, excuse me. A good second gap back to Richard Petty from 4th to 5th. Larson, he's 2/10 back of Stewart. I think everyone just biding their time again until the next pit stop, what we saw on the first round, but we just didn't quite get there as the caution came out. Larson making another run at the 20. See if he can make a move to get around and start gapping the rest of the field. I know he's got a quicker car here at this point. This is how he got by Cale Yarbrough, and he actually completed it by the end of the corner. And down the front straightaway, Larson is almost in front of Stewart. He has to check up. It's enough to allow Stewart by. He almost did it there. So Larson is fast. He got there. And I think on old enough tires, he could probably make that work and getting to the end of this run. I mean, that's why it was so close. He was almost clear of him through right there. Oh, Larson's to the high side. He's going to get by now. Adios. 5 car to the front. Now we got a big stack up here with Richard Petty. Hold up. Kyle Busch, Logano, Earnhardt, Hamlin. Looks like Kyle's finally going to clear off of 4. So Kyle back into the top 5 after his eventful last 40 laps. And now Kyle Larson gets the lead on lap 79. Stewart not going to let him get away too easily, though. Pulling up on lap traffic, 3 seconds up ahead. See if we can find Jeff Burton again. Let's just see where he's at. Up to speed. Yeah, doing much better there in the 31 car. Pulling up on Ernie Irvin, though. It's going to be the next car lap down in front of Kyle Larson. He's 2.3 ahead at the moment. See if Stewart can capitalize like he did with Jeff Gordon. 2/5 of the way through this race. Remember, Stewart was able to get by Gordon with the help of lap traffic, and Gordon is now 3 laps down because of lap traffic. Oh, Stewart making another move into the left rear of Larson. I didn't think Stewart would come back on Larson at all. Has to back out. Larson with that preferred line. Top 3 in your screen, separated by half a second. Cale Yarbrough running by himself in 4th. And they continue to fight it out here for 6th as Kyle Busch pulling away. Richard now trying to hold off Joey Logano and Earnhardt Sr., Denny Hamlin. That's your top 9. Oh, Logano couldn't hold the have the grip there. Stewart gains a bit off of 4. Saw Jeff Gordon on pit lane. Stewart is right to the rear bumper now of the 5, and Larson now just shimmying back and forth trying to figure out which direction do I go to get by these guys. Stewart just shoots for it, goes to the inside, and he might be in trouble as they come through the dogleg. Not too bad though, all things considered, but Larson will get around the outside here through 1 and 2. Nicely done. 3 wide here with a lap car in the middle. The leader is heading to 3. Next up, Neil Bonnet. Leaders still side by side. Now coming through 4. Stewart gonna try to get the... Yep, he will get the lead. At least lead the lap. Does he get clear of Neil Bonnet? He will here in 1 and 2. I think Larson looking at that high line again. That is risky up there. He's going for it. So keeping up with Tony Stewart, who now is in the lead. Might be looking at a pit stop. He's looking low. I'm not sure. Yep, pit stop for the 20. That caused Larson and company to check up. So we'll keep up on this high camera as pit stops begin on lap 87. Looks like Jimmie Johnson's now gonna make the move to pit lane as they're in so much lap traffic. It's detrimental at this point, but Larson clears just in time to maybe get one more good lap in before he has to pit. Could this be the difference? You saw Stewart exiting pit lane. Lap 88 here. Longest green flag run of the race. Is Larson coming in? Yep. Pulling off the banking and into pit lane for the leader. As is Logano. There's Jeff Gordon in 38th, 4 laps down, but a lot of cars here. There's Kyle Larson. I don't believe anyone hasn't pit yet. So there's Jimmie, there's Tony Stewart. Stewart clearing Jimmie by a significant margin. Cale Yarborough even getting by. So the short pit seems like it may have been the best option. Here comes Stewart. I know we got Larson and Logano on the access road. Larson's up ahead, but Stewart's going to get there. Stewart to the lead. Larson now's got to worry about trying to hold off Cale Yarborough, is pulling up very quickly. Jimmie Johnson's going to get there too. But Larson should be able to get up to speed and keep Jimmie behind. Pretty big change there at the front though. And Tony Stewart beginning to set sail. This is a point in the race where we'll really be able to see a lot of the speed in these cars and who's got the best. They're very spread out. You don't have to worry about that pack racing. This is second, third, and fourth. Tony Stewart's 2 seconds up the road. Pulling it quickly on the halfway point. Larson really trying to work on Cale Yarbrough. Gonna be too close through the dogleg, I think. Oh, he keeps up this momentum. Many cars aren't able to do what Larson can in regards to keeping up that speed through the quad oval. Back to Dale Earnhardt real quick. I got a huge mess. I got 3 lap cars and 4 cars battling for top 5, all going 3 wide here. We'll get up to the blimp. Check this one out. Earnhardt Sr. really struggling with Ken Schrader at the moment, trying to get on his inside, but the inside line just so hard to pass, and now getting it back to the inside of Hamlin, clearing Schrader. Hamlin's going to try the outside of Neil Bonnet, but it has Boyer blocking that line. Richard Petty's cleared. Just a total log jam right now, and benefiting from this is Bobby Allison, as he is closed right back to this group, and he's in 10th place, so the top 10 all back in the same picture, really. Oh, this has got to be gutting for Earnhardt. He's like, just thinking, how much time am I losing? Battle for second still continues as Cale, Jimmie Johnson, Kyle Larson. Still 2 seconds back of your leader, Tony Stewart. Jimmie 3rd in points. Again, had a DNF last week, his 2nd of the season. Cale Yarbrough, meanwhile, haven't even noticed this. He has not had a DNF yet this year. Incredible job for the 2018. A lot of lap traffic now for these 3. Side by side in front of them. Gotta pick a lane and go with it. Jimmie Johnson did. Almost got stuck up in the wall by the 28. Now trying to get around the high side is the 48. Can he make it work? Harry Gant's up there and making life difficult for Jimmie. This lap traffic just very hard to manage. Nice pass by Jimmie Johnson there off of 2. You see the inside of Harry Gant. You see Tony Stewart up ahead, having trouble with another 3 lap cars himself. But it looks like he's able to make a pretty good move there, as I mentioned it. And should be able to clear into turn 1. And he doesn't. And in fact, they're coming back on him to try to keep him behind. Jimmie, same move. Forces the pass. Tony Stewart's going to stay 2nd in that group of cars, so huge for him. Jimmie now 1.9 back of Tony Stewart, but they mentioned Tony Stewart now clear off of 4. Halfway through, 100 laps to go here in Charlotte Motor Speedway. Stock Car Championship Series. Been an incredible race so far. Got 24 cars still on the lead lap. Next up, is Carl Edwards, then Dale Jr. and Bobby Labonte. Tony Stewart really controlling this last 50 laps of this race. First quarter was really up in the air for anyone, but since that caution came out, he has been full dominance since. Let's go back to Jimmie Johnson in second. Got Cale Yarborough and Kyle Busch with him. Oh, Kyle Larson actually was with this group, sorry. Kyle Busch has now since joined it and taken Kyle Larson out of the equation. Larson seemed to maybe have some trouble with the lap traffic. But Kyle Busch back up to fourth after his issues on his pit stop. A green flag stop definitely helped people like him. I think when you're further back in the field from where you actually started the race, you get really in a lot of trouble and can't make the stops the way you need to because, of course, a check up where every car that is now in front of you, when they pit, kind of an avalanche sometimes is seen during caution or yellow flag pit stops. Tony Stewart. Looking good here. Pitted on lap 87. Let's see. About maybe lap 130 to 135, I believe. We'll have our next pit stops. Another 30 laps from here. No one really has anything for the Home Depot car at the moment. The only caution we've had was between two lap cars of Ricky Rudd and Jeff Burton. Actually took out second place at the time, Jeff Gordon. And there just has not been much attrition in this race either. So Gordon has not been able to make up any time. I'm seeing something here. Okay. What happened to Dale Earnhardt? On pit lane? Here we go. 21 car. Hard hit with Neil Bonnet. Earnhardt. Another victim in this race here today. Heavy impact. So Earnhardt and Gordon taking huge shots. Dale Earnhardt was 10th in points coming into today's race. Jeff Gordon 5th in points, or actually 4th in points, tied for 4th with Richard Petty. Two of the top 10 with huge problems, and just like I said, has not been many issues for anyone else, and it's just gonna amplify the loss of points. Let's take a look at the field as they come by. There's Jimmie and Kyle, and there's a tail. Kyle Larson's really fallen back. Jimmie Johnson, Kyle Busch, clear of Dale Jr. down the front straightaway here at Charlotte. Earnhardt Sr. back on track. There's Larson, and here comes Dale Earnhardt. Make sure this car is also up to speed. Stick with it for just a moment. car still looks pretty good shape. It's got to be even more devastating knowing that it took that long for repairs. Tony Stewart now lapping up to 21st, so 20 cars, half of the field remain on the lead lap as we are just past halfway of this race. Lap 112 of 200. Laps ticking by here. Just very clean so far. You see temperature 81 degrees, track temp down to 95. Winds southeast 5 miles an hour. Look at this. Oh, this battle. Jimmie Johnson involved. Get back to the ground floors. Jimmy and Kyle and Cale navigate this heavy lap traffic. Richard Petty closed up. So they were desperate to get by, and they do. Second, third, fourth remain nose to tail. The lead for Tony Stewart has doubled from 2 seconds, probably about 10 laps ago, to 4 seconds now. I think the lap traffic may be even more difficult to navigate with how many cars are running together here. You just get so many more stacked up at a time, where Tony Stewart is just one car plus whoever he's tracking down. Kyle Busch, a ton of speed through turn 3. He's going to make that pass. And even look on Bobby Labonte down the front straightaway. I think he's going to stay there. Nope, Jimmy's going to get back to the outside of Kyle. Oh man, I thought Kyle had that. Stewart crossed the line, lap 116, 85 laps to go. Enjoying that race run out front. Tony Stewart with only 1 win on the season. That was our very first race at Michigan. He's had 1 DNF, but a model of consistency so far this year. Wants to be a model of a winner and a champion. That's the ultimate goal here for the 20 car. And he's on the verge of achieving it. If he can back this performance up in a week's time, half a week's time at Le Mans, we could potentially be looking at a battle between him and Kyle Busch in the final half of this season. Speaking of Kyle Busch, in third, looking to get around the outside of Bobby Labonte, and he will. Richard Petty also cleared. Jimmie Johnson there in fifth. He'll get by. Top 5 now clear of lap traffic. They got one more here with Keselowski. But Stewart also in the same time is back on lap traffic of his own. So see if these top 5 can regain any of that time they lost here in the last 10 laps. We have a caution. Not sure what it's for. Let's see if we can get back here. Oh, Bubba Wallace up the track. Back across. Oh, collides. There's Neil Bonnet. Ken Schrader spins around, gets it back going. So good for the 23. Gonna have a bit of damage though. take a quick break. I'll be right back as cars make their pit stops. I'll be back in just a moment. Be silent and I'll be on the microphone when I come back. Alright, just in time, getting back to green flag racing. Pace car about to pull in. Tony Stewart leads the field. Cale Yarbrough second. Richard Petty and Jimmie Johnson on the second row. Green flags of the air. Can Tony Stewart maintain this dominant day at Charlotte? And some new challengers up front with Richard Petty and Cale Yarbrough. Cale should get the run on the high side out of 2. And he does. Tony Stewart, your leader, into 3. Jimmie Johnson now 3rd. Neil Bonnet still has some damage, comes back to pit lane. One lap in the books here in green flag condition as we're winding down the laps. Closing in on crunch time in the Stock Car Championship Series. We got 21 cars on the lead lap. Keselowski got the wave around last lap. And it looks like Neil Bonnet is going to be exiting pit lane right here with the lead. Well, they should be able to get by cleanly. Give us a good idea where he is on speed as well. Top 3 remain the same. Kyle Larson back in the picture there in 4th. He was all about written off at one point. Now Jimmie Johnson looking the inside on Cale Yarbrough. Not going to get that completed. But Larson shuts the door on Kyle Busch for 4th. Huge move. Intense battle going on back here. Second back to 8th. Kowicki and Hamlin having great runs. Gonna break the top 5 even. Making their way around. So Stewart about a half-second gap already. Oh, Cale Yarbrough gets in the fence, going into 1. Bit of a mistake there. And it's going to cost him a few positions. Jimmie Johnson out of 2nd. And see if he can close up on Tony Stewart, who's a 0.4 up ahead. Richard Petty really losing a lot of spots on the inside. See Kowicki, Rusty, Logano, even David Pearson all getting by there. And potentially, I think, moving Petty out of the top 10. 70 laps to go. It is getting down to it. Neil Bonnet having trouble on track. Now his 4th stop in the last little bit. I believe there is word of debris and fluid coming out of his car. And disqualifying Neil Bonnet on lap 126. Not being able to get his car worked on correctly. It's been numerous pit stops and it's bound to be a problem out there. Battle for the lead, heating up. Jimmie Johnson to the rear spoiler of the 20. Larson in tow. These three are very quick. We know that. Kyle Busch has now passed Hamlin for 4th even. We're seeing the best of the best now at the front here when it matters most. And what I understand, Neil Bonnet's still out on track. We're going to have to get this addressed here. The yellow flag coming out for Neil Bonnet. Going to be on probation for the 2nd time this season. I hate to do it, but you know, it's pretty excessive. So Tony Stewart closing in on the pace car. Neil Bonnet now officially disqualified. I do not see him scored on track anymore. But 2nd probation now. He just got on probation last week. Almost, if he would have done it last week, he would have lost points. So, really getting down to it now. 65 to go as we cross the line. When we come back around, I'm not sure if pit lane was open that time, but let's take a look. Yes, it was. Who took to pit lane? This is going to be interesting. Bobby Allison's one of them. I see Harvick, Darrell Waltrip, Kurt Busch, Bill Elliott, Rusty Wallace. I think he's the highest running. Kurt Busch gets out in front. Harvick, pretty good stop. There's the line. Harvick, Kurt Busch, Rusty Wallace. There's Bobby Allison, Greg Biffle, Bill Elliott. So this could be an interesting call. Chase Elliott gets the wave around. He's in 22nd, back on the lead lap. You can't make it to the end from here, but like everybody has one more stop. You will get fresher tires for about 15 laps, about almost half a run. There is benefit in that stop for sure. See, all the lap cars going to come down. I don't know why you wouldn't when you're that far back. Earnhardt and Gordon at the front of those lap down cars just gotta be so upsetting for them. 36th and 37th respectively. Crushing. So, let's see. Looks like 12th on back is what made it down pit lane. Kevin Harvick, first of the cars to do so. Definitely the one to keep an eye on. Harvick, Kurt Busch, Rusty. Harvick will restart on the outside, as will Rusty Wallace. Yeah, a lot of speed up on that high line. Get the one to go this time by. Cars will line back up and should be back green flag racing with about 63 laps remaining. Good shot of the top five. down the front straightaway. Seen the inside line prevail every restart, which is great news for the leader. Seen some tracks where the outside line actually is a negative. You know, it's definitely a disadvantage. So Tony Stewart will lead the field again. He's had the lead for close to 100 laps now. And it was around lap 40, lap 50 that he took the lead. Can anybody dethrone the 20? Right before that caution came out, it seemed like Jimmie Johnson and Kyle Larson had something for him. You know Kyle Busch will be quick. You got Hamlin and Kawicki on the outside. They're potentially going to pick up some spots here. That could shuffle up the top 10, though, as they may not be as much on pace, even. Got a lot to play out here in the next short bit. NASCAR or the Stock Car Championship Series pace car is going to pull off. Stewart leads the field. Green flag in the air. Ooh, bad start for Logano. He is well off the rear of Cale Yarborough and lose a lot of spots. Jimmie Johnson stays the high side of Larson, who almost got in front. Larson's working so hard for second. I think he's going to get in 3. He will. What a move by Kyle Larson, keeping Jimmie Johnson behind him. Wow. Kyle Larson now could be the quickest car on track. See what this lap puts in. He could be under 29 or under 30 seconds out of 29 with how quick he's going. But Jimmy's to his inside, just like that. And you're going to go faster. Jimmie Johnson, fastest lap of the race there, 29.970. Kyle was at a 30.0. But Jimmie was busting it there on the inside. Kyle Busch lost a spot to Cale Yarborough. Top 5 single file. Into turn 3, Tony Stewart by 2/10 over Larson and Jimmie Johnson. Another 2/10 to Cale Yarborough and Kyle Busch. It's our top 5. Coming up on 50 laps to go. See Harvick slowly making his way up here. He's up to 9th. Hamlin having a bit of trouble on the inside. I'll put Harvick around for 8. And Harvick sees the lead. If I were the top 5, I would be very concerned about that 29 car. Harvick looking really good here. You know, Rusty Wallace is with him too, so these guys could be out the front of the field pretty soon. We know, I mean, these guys got to stop at lap 160 or so. This isn't too far off. Oh, Harvick maybe almost got the wall. Check up big time. Tony Stewart continues to lead, but look at this. Jimmie Johnson's on the high side. Coming off a 2. This is the first time in nearly 100 laps anyone's got around Tony Stewart. And he's gonna complete the pass. Into 3. Stewart's gonna try to stay there. Does he have enough? No, but that is a nice shot of what could be a potential photo finish. Stewart still sticking with Jimmie Johnson. Very similar pace in these cars at the top. Kelly Yarbrough kind of came out of nowhere. He's been in the top 10 all day, even the top 5 at some points, but I did not really expect him to be battling for the win. And look at that, Tony Stewart to the inside of Jimmie Johnson off of 2. Haven't seen that pass all day. And now he's going to close the door on Jimmie off of 4. What a move by Smoke on 7 time. Larson, best seat in the house, watching them go back and forth. Stewart continues to run a bit of a low line through 1 and 2, which opens the door for Jimmie. Harvick mired in that second pack for a moment. He's kind of trying to get by Pearson on the low line as we speak. Just can't quite break the code there. Get around David Pearson. In fact, he is shuffled way down now. Potentially going 3 wide here into 3. Tony Stewart in a 1 lap has ballooned his lead incredibly up to a 2nd. Not sure how Jimmie lost that much time. We got 50 laps to go here at Charlotte. It is officially the witching hour. Time to go if you are trying to go for the win. These guys are stacked up right now. Crazy racing. Joey Logano, he's making the pass. See Bobby Allison, he's got fresher tires. Gonna give it a go at David Pearson. Nice drive off the corner for the 12. 17 maintains position. Bobby just can't get enough speed. He's gonna have to check up there. Oh, it keeps it going a bit on the inside. Still there. 2 by 2 by 4 rows deep here. My goodness. Logano flying right now. He's catching up to the top 5 quickly. Under 50 laps remain. Tony Stewart leads by 2 seconds over Jimmie Johnson. Joey Logano's tracked down Cale Yarborough. Gaps have opened up pretty evenly among the top 5, except for the gap first to second, which is now just incredibly massive. Continues to grow. Larson needs to get by Jimmie Johnson. If there's any hope. Larson almost got there. Regroup here off of 2. Go for it again in 3. Not gonna get there. You gotta clear out before you get off of 4. Let's see here. Bobby Allison's clear. That's big. Fresh tires. Rusty Wallace, another car in that group with fresh tires. Now you see Kyle Busch trying to hold off Logano. Logano showing a lot of speed right now. And Larson trying to clear Jimmie Johnson here in 3. Can he do it? I think he did. And he is clear. 3 seconds back of Tony Stewart. Just over 40 laps to go. Is there enough time? One more pit stop for all these guys. And I'm talking everybody, all of them. Look at this incredible, just group of cars stacked up here. I'd say like 8th back to 16th. Three wide. Jeff Gordon's in this battle. Larson pulling away. Kyle Busch now trying to get by Jimmie Johnson through 3 and 4. Kyle might be clear. Just barely. Unbelievable. 40 laps remain. And Jimmie Johnson's starting to feel a bit of that tire fall off. Three seconds for Larson, 2.8 to be exact. Matt Kenseth has had trouble. He's on pit lane. See if we can find out what happened to him. This is on the restart. Contact with Derek Waltrip. Hard hit to the 17 cars we have out there finding one another and trying to bring down the wall. Here comes Stewart off of 4. We got a decent gap still to Kyle Larson. Still 2.8. 2.9. .5 for Tony Stewart. 30.45 for Kyle Larson. Kyle Busch a bit off pace. Logano still working Jimmie Johnson. Can't make it though. Then you got Bobby Allison. He's caught up to Cale Yarborough. Cale 30.9, 30.6 for Bobby Allison. So we could see a few more of these spots change in just a moment, but I think pit stops are any lap now for these leaders. That's the entire top 6. And anybody can stop from here and make it the rest of the way. Stewart, he's coming in. First car in. Larson stays out. Kyle Busch stays out. Stewart, the only car in the top 5 to stop so far. You see Bobby Allison getting around Cale Yarborough here in the background. It's a big pass forward position. If Bobby can complete it, that is. Cale not rolling over. It looks like Kyle's coming in. Kyle Larson. Maybe Jimmie Johnson. Yep, Jimmy's in. Kyle now technically the leader as you see Tony Stewart exiting pit lane. We saw the first round of pit stops. The earlier you came in, the better. I don't know anyone's ever jumped Tony Stewart in this situation, but that's what got him the lead to begin with. And now we see Kyle Busch and Joey Logano. They're coming down pit lane. Here's Tony Stewart back out in heavy traffic here. Oh, Denny Hamlin almost wrecked coming down pit lane. So there's Jimmie Johnson exiting. You see Kyle Larson as Tony Stewart goes by. Here's Larson. Keep an eye on him and where he eventually comes back out. He's well behind Tony Stewart. I would say by gonna be about 4 or 5 seconds when it's said and done. A lot more cars hitting pit road. We still got quite a few, though, that are staying out. Remember, there is a strategy going on. So Tony Stewart is in 14th. He's now the first car 1 lap down. Kevin Harvick is second. Bobby Allison is the leader. And you can see Stewart in the background. 30 to go this time by. Bobby Allison crossing the line. Pole sitter today did not go the way he's wanted. He's been about maybe 10th place the whole day. Just dropped back right off the start. Stayed out of trouble though, and now finds himself back in the lead late in the race. So if it came in on lap 136, I imagine these guys can go to about lap 180. Another 9 laps on these tires and fuel. Seen up here, Tony Stewart getting by Dale Earnhardt Sr. and Jeff Gordon. See if we can find Kyle Larson. There's Larson. He's second, a lap down behind Tony Stewart. Kyle Busch, then Jimmie Johnson and Joey Logano. That's the top 5 of that group of cars that have pitted already. I see Larson splitting Kurt Busch and Rusty Wallace down the front straightaway into turn 1. I'm sure they didn't appreciate that, battling for third themselves, but it's time to go. Stewart running 30.4 is about half a second quicker than those that are still on track at a 30.9 for Kevin Harvick. Not a huge difference, you know. You can maybe get away with taking 2 tires on this last stop. Bobby Allison's still going pretty quick. Harvick now knows that it's just inevitable and takes the lower line. Tony Stewart up high through 1 and 2. Harvick, though, cuts back up as they get down the back straightaway. Stewart going low in 3, and he'll get by Harvick. "25 laps, all that remain here at Charlotte." A lot to be determined, though, with these final pit stops. You see the gap. Bobby Allison, 2-second lead over Harvick, 5 seconds over Kurt Busch and Rusty Wallace. So no pressure from anyone else on the same strategy. I think he's got to pray for a caution right now. There's Tony Stewart. He's running 11th. And Bobby Allison's coming in. See him feigning down. Knows he can't make it. So Stewart. Back on the lead lap. Then you got Kevin Harvick. And look who's closed in. 30.2. He's running 0.3 a second a lap quicker than Tony Stewart. Larson's flying. Going to the high side of Harvick here down the front stretch. Harvick closes it. Larson is going to get there off of 2. And now if you're Tony Stewart, you got to worry. You know, this is the battle for the win. And Larson is coming quick. This is Larson's MO, by the way. Show up late and just crash the party. Got the marbles up there in 1 and 2. The gap, 0.9 of a second. Let's go on board with Larson. One more on board before the end of the race. So if you're gonna check the line where Stewart's running, any different than Larson? Larson may be a little lower. But through 1 and 2, still remains 0.9. How about 3 and 4? Pretty similar through 3 and 4, but maybe a quarter of a car width lower for Larson. But it's working. Down to 0.7 here. And Bubba Wallace coming out of the pits. This is going to be bad timing for Stewart. He will have to deal with this lap traffic, and Larson will close the gap quickly. The rest of these cars that pit late are now pitting now. Which I didn't pit late, but pit on the last caution we had. 0.5 the gap. Under 20 laps remain. Here's Stewart looking on Bubba. Does not want to take too much time here. So much smoke. I thought we had a caution, but it must have just been on pit lane. Stewart gets by with no problem around Bubba. Larson is there. Now closing it down the back straightaway with more lap traffic to the inside. Oh, Larson's stuck. He's gotta help. Bubba just keeps pushing here. Three wide for Larson. He knows what's at stake here through 3 and 4. Huge move, keeping the gap at half a second. That was massive by the 5. What a pass. Now gets around Ernie Irvin. Focus back on Tony Stewart here. Coming up on 15 to go. Reset the table here. These guys are good to go on fuel. Tony Stewart, second in points. His last win came at the first race of the season, the first race of this series. Kyle Larson has won the most races this season on 3, coming off a DNF last week here at the Charlotte Roval. 6th in points. A win here would get him back up into the top 5. So would a second place. But everybody wants a win. And Larson definitely quicker. Can he get it done on the 20? I don't think he'll get it done here. Oh, Larson's got a bit more speed though. Ah, that would have been Stewart at the line. So it's like Larson backs off a bit. Pulls the tires. Ernie Irvin is in 30th. They got fresh tires, but I don't think he'll try to make a move here. Bobby Labonte up ahead with Dale Jr. They're 1.5 seconds. See if that comes into play in these last 10 laps. Larson back to the high side. I think Larson maybe has one more shot at this. You use up so much energy and tires going for it there. And when you don't get it, you just use all your momentum and you have to really regather yourself. Kyle Busch coming up pretty quick, by the way. Not sure what kind of lap times he's running, but he's flying right now. I don't think we'll see him by the end of the race, but you never know. 2 seconds from Larson. Tony Stewart holding up 3-second gap, 10 laps to go, 9.5 down this back straightaway. Does Larson have anything? Does he have one more run in those tires? He closed the gap so quick. Did he wear him off trying to just get to the back bumper? Tony Stewart's teammate up ahead, Bobby Labonte, running 26, having a pretty off day. Not much in the line of cautions to help further his race, but this isn't going to help Tony Stewart, I don't think. He's stuck on the inside of his team. He's got to check up. And Larson's going to get to the rear bumper again. Stewart side by side now with Bobby into 3. This is going to give Larson maybe one more shot. Larson, though, still got to make the pass himself. And once again, Tony Stewart seems like he is pulling away. I think it's going to take major fall off here at this point from Tony Stewart in order for Larson to get back to him, especially now with the lap traffic as comes into play. We're close to 5 laps remaining. Tony Stewart close to getting his 2nd win on the season and potentially back into the championship conversation. Championship leader Kyle Busch running 3rd, and looks like he'll finish there. So you won't be able to gain a ton of ground, but you will separate yourself from the rest of the field. Jimmie Johnson running 4th. He's having a good day. A lot of the guys at the top of the points are having a good day, but a win will go a long way. 5 to go for Tony Stewart. That's the gap for Larson. Less than a second, but it feels like a mile. Off turn 4, here comes the 20 Home Depot. Chevrolet Monte Carlo. Fastest lap of the race will belong to Jimmie Johnson. 29.970, I believe the only car to break the 30-second barrier today. Three laps to go. Gap's 1.1 seconds for Larson. Bit of lap traffic. Stewart might catch him maybe on the last lap. Earnhardt Jr. and Keselowski. Last car in the lead lap. And 21st. Great run for the 6 car. 2 laps to go. No pressure from behind. Cruise control now for the 20 car. Tony Stewart adding to an incredible season. Gets the white flag in the air. Closes up on Keselowski. Looks to the outside. Thinks better of it. Just try the inside. Nope. Alright. Now let's stay behind. Larson, 1.2 back still. Final lap at Charlotte. Going for it anyway. Tony Stewart. Race every lap to the end and comes off of 4, and that's your winner today, the 20 car, Tony Stewart, here at Charlotte. What a win. A dominant win. He, like I said, took over from lap 50 and led till 150. Gave it up for maybe 10, 20 laps and came right back and wins this race by a large margin. Larson got close, but no one really had anything for the 20 car all day long. Incredible job. Smoke, like I mentioned, will close the gap on Kyle Busch. This is their guy in 2nd in points. First in points, finished 3rd in the race, though, so can only gain so many when that happens. I imagine Stewart leading most of the laps. That will certainly help his cause. close up 14 points at least on the lead. Still about a 1 race gap, though, from first to second, despite second place getting a win here today. Incredible. Just goes to show the early dominance of Kyle Busch with only 1 DNF on the season early on. And ever since has just been on a complete tear. Almost every race finishing in the top 10 since the 6th race of the year. But that's it for the 17th race of the season. As I mentioned earlier, we will be back next Wednesday for our 18th race out of 36. So right at the halfway point, it'll be the second of our 4 races included in the Twin Checkered Challenge, where those races are worth double points. So that'll be a 4-hour endurance race at Le Mans next Wednesday. Tune in for that one. It will be... I don't know what to expect. I know we're going to have fuel at 100%, because otherwise they pit after 2 or 3 laps. Hopefully we don't have cars running out of gas left and right, but do a practice race, see how it goes. I'm sure it will be eventful, to say the least. Fortunately, if you run out of gas, I don't think you'll lose a lap at Le Mans, so there is some benefit there. Great evening here at Charlotte. We had incredible racing. Not nearly as many incidents as I expected, but the incidents when they occurred were heavy. We lost Jeff Gordon and Dale Earnhardt Sr. to wrecks in this race. Matt Kenseth as well. So 3 cars in, well, the top 11 in points. That was Gordon was running 5th, Earnhardt 10th, and Kenseth 11th. They're going to take huge hits today. Gap at the top, going to stay pretty large, but it cuts down a bit. Second finishes first. First finishes third. Third finishes fourth. If that makes any sense. Jimmie Johnson, again, quickest lap of the race. Good to see for 48. You saw that when it happened. Actually, we were following along. Race time, 1 hour, 55 minutes. Let's check who our hard charger of the race was. See Rusty coming up 8 spots. A few cars up 8. But yeah, we're going to go Rusty Wallace with the hard charger from 18th to 10th. And you see Jeff Gordon 3rd to 33rd. Earnhardt 10th to 36th. Ouch. Kenseth didn't have a great starting position. Pretty quick this season. Just couldn't get it going and finishes 38th. A rough day. And yeah, Neil Bonnet will come in last as he was parked on lap 120 or so. So he was actually 75 or so laps down. But definitely a hindrance when he kept coming in and out back on the track. 20 cars, half the field remained on the lead lap. Let's go back and take a look at the incidents today. To our default camera. Here's lap 39. This is the incident with Jeff Gordon, Jeff Burton, and Ricky Rudd. What a hard hit. Let's go back here. Let's go on board Ernie Irvin. You gotta go look at this one. Wow. That was a moment. Here's lap 49 with Mark Martin. Let's see what happens here. Oh, Martin gets in the wall. Oh, Earnhardt Sr. and Neil Bonnet. Hard hit, yep. That on top of his issues. Neil Bonnet did not have a good day. Kozlowski and Waltrip. Oh, sandwiched. Right at the halfway point. There's Bubba. Contact. Oh, he gets the fence. And there again. Hard hits for Bonnet. Schrader. And Boyer barely misses Bubba. There's Kenseth on the restart. Gets contact with Darrell. Right on the track. Tough break for Kenseth. That was it for incidents today. Pretty clean day all around. But thank you, everybody, for tuning in today. Again, our next race will be on Wednesday at Le Mans, so be sure to tune in for that. Next Friday, we will have the IndyCar Legend Racing Series. Won't be broadcasted, but we'll have another race in that series. That will be race 4 at Barber Motorsports Park. Always a good track there, especially for the Indy cars. But we'll give you an update on that race when we come back after Le Mans and join back at Talladega. Talladega and Martinsville will be following week after Le Mans. An endurance race, double points, next Wednesday. Tune in. Stock Car Championship Series presented by Dizzy V Designs. Thank you everyone for tuning in. Hope you all have a great weekend, and we will see you next time.